Hi, guys. Welcome back to Finding Your Indie. I'm Bonnie Paulson,
And I'm Mandy Stevens.
and we are here with a Monday marketing tips and tricks. We're going to do kind of like a series. We had an awesome question from some people, and we actually were talking about doing this in August, and then Orb kind of took over, and Boss Mode was coming up, and we got super slammed. So we decided we were going to do it the first couple Mondays of September. So this first one, Mandy, we are talking about how to know when to either split your stuff into a pen name or when to add a new pen name. Like, when is the appropriate time
Right.
to
Yeah.
have a second pen name?
I get this question a lot. People always like, or they're like, Bonnie has so many pen names. You have pen names. How do you know when you're supposed to have a pen name?
Yeah.
Well, I write two different genre, urban fantasy and sweet romance, and they're completely different. So
Yeah.
yeah, so a lot of my readers aren't going to cross over. I mean, a few do because they just like me as a person,
Mm-hmm.
but generally speaking, that's a big difference in readership.
It really is. It is a big difference. And like you said, they might cross over, but I don't read, like, I write sweet romance, but I don't usually read it because I don't like to read my genre. And so that's one reason I love historical romance. Love it. Will never write it. It's too much. I don't
Mhm.
care when the scissors were invented. So I'm not
Right.
going to research it. So I'm going to get it wrong. So there's things that I won't do. And I know I have a ton of pen names, but this started in I want to say 2013, 2014. I had one pen name, and it was like
Mhm.
my trad was under it, my sweet romance, my Western romance, my apocalyptic thrillers.
Was
Like,
it that long ago?
yeah,
Wow.
I know it
Wow.
was a long time ago. I know, right? But I remember I was in all these Facebook groups and big ones, and where the big authors were. And I was like, guys, I don't, do I separate them out? And this was very clear. This is when I think it was just a little bit before that you and I started working together. And I was like, I write apocalyptic thrillers and I write, sweet contemporary romance. Westerns weren't really there yet. And everyone was like, no, I mix mine all the time. I write romantic suspense and romance, contemporary romance, but military romance and romantic suspense. And it works for me. And I was like, okay, like I didn't want to because it was kind of an emotional thing, right? Like, it really is. Like, this is my pen name. I don't want to separate them out. But something kept bugging me. And then we started talking more about it. And we were both like, okay, I know I have to do this. And
It's time.
it's
It's
time. And it
time.
was, yeah. And I think I was making, like I said, $50 a month. And
Mhm.
then because, when you're starting out, you're still trying to figure out your stuff. Well, I had 15 books by then. And I was like, I'm not making any money. And then I got myself, I was like, okay, I can do this. Bonnie Paulson's going to be sweets and BR is going to be my apox. And when I split them out, then that next month was like 1,500 for one, 2,500 for the other, like almost immediately. None of my other efforts had changed. Then my also bots kicked in about 3 months later. They cleaned out. And then it was like, ooh, Mandy, I'm addicted. And then it was like, I really want to write this women's fiction. It doesn't fit under either pen name. So now I'm going to do another one. It's like, are these pajamas or not? They're pajamas, then they go in the pajama pile. They're
Right.
jeans, they go in the jeans pile. Like, so that's how I got 14 pen names. And only 4 are live. I mean, they still have their stuff up, but I'm not working on any of them actively besides the 4. So when I'm like, yeah, I have 14 pen names, people are like, how do you keep them going? No. Let's be honest.
He doesn't sleep.
No, but it's no, like, for instance, I have a YA vampire series I wanted to write. That doesn't fit in any,
No.
and I was like, I just want to write it and get it out. So that as a whole pen name, it's done. I don't even know what that one's doing because I just wanted to write the stupid books, right? Like,
Mhm.
get it off my plate. It's got a pen name. That's it. I will never add to it again. It's fine. So I just feel like, no, when I say I have 14 pen names, they're not living like yours are, like, they're
Mhm.
not living like my 4 main ones are, but they're out there. I have 14. If I can do
Yeah.
14, y'all can do 2
Two.
or
Right.
3 or 3.
I do see some authors who have been around since like 2010. Some were
Mm-hmm.
traditional and moved over, and they do have several genre under, like I work with one, and she has so many genre under her name. And I just look and I'm just like, wow, you should really separate these. I mean, she does well because she's been around forever, but it's like,
But the
someone's
algorithms,
going,
yeah.
yeah, somebody's going to buy a mystery, and then there's military romance over here. It's all under one name. It's just driving me nuts.
Yeah. It's hard to, I mean, if I was like their ad manager, I'd be like, This is rough. And another thing is with like direct sales, I know a lot of people are like, oh, with direct sales, you can put all your pen names under one. However, you're putting all of your pen names under one, your pen names. They're not saying, yeah, you can write all your books under the same name. They're saying, you can which you could put your pen names on one. I mean, it'd be fine. I did see this one though. It was really jarring to me. I was like, in one of those threads, we're like, hey, everybody, drop your link to your store. So I was like, yeah, well, okay, I'll click. So there's like 100. So I was starting to click through them, and I clicked on one. I was like, man, this is a beautiful site. One of the pen names was paranormal romance. Another pen name was urban fantasy. And I was looking at them. I was like, okay, that's really cool. That's really cool. This really fits the store. This makes sense. And then it was like a lawyer nonfiction book. And I was like, what just happened? It just took me so far out of I don't know what just happened, but okay. Like it was kind of disorienting a little bit. But I mean, if you want to do it. I'm just as an ads manager perspective, I kind of worry because the pixels are training different people to come. And it's a little I'm running into that right now. I have rom-coms and I have sweet rom-coms and I have the westerns, and they're two different like tones, right? And I'm having a heck of a time getting my pixels to find people because they're not the same reader. They're really not the same reader. So
I think you just answered yourself what you need to do next.
Probably. I probably do need to again and separate them out.
And the author I was talking about, she has a direct store and she has all her different books under there. And it's just, I think she has like 300 books,
Yeah.
So I can see why she would want to separate it out.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. And the stores cost money and you have to set up the stores. And I mean, I'm like, okay, I've got the sweet ones, my contemporary or my sweet romances are set up. And then I'm like, I paid for the APOC store and I still haven't had the energy to do it because of everything else we're doing.
Yeah, I would say we just had a convention and now we just have boss mode now. So it's like, I know I have to set up my stores too. So I'm doing separate stores. I'm doing 2 stores because there's no way in the world I can put urban fantasy and sweet romance under one. They're 2 completely different readers.
Yeah, you're right. So let's talk about the different kinds of readers that there are. So there are readers. So for instance, a contemporary romance reader is, if it's contemporary romance and we haven't delineated that it's sweet, they're most likely expecting steamy, right? Like that's a thing. So if you're a sweet romance reader, writer, but if you're a sweet romance reader, you're expecting a certain kind of cover. You're expecting a certain kind of trope. I agree with you. I would not be mixing sweet romance with urban fantasy. I wouldn't even be like mixing urban fantasy with paranormal, unless it's the urban fantasy romance that they're like that they're saying, is urban fantasy, when it's like, nah, this really isn't urban fantasy. This is romance with an urban fantasy setting kind of a thing. Those I think carry over. Fantasy, great. I don't know. I feel like the nonfiction on the store is kind of
you probably just didn't want that person probably just didn't want a whole nother store,
I get that. I don't either. But I saw somebody who did it really good. Maybe it was Morgana Best. She had on her site. You go to her site and it says for authors or authors. Like that's the area, which I think that makes sense if you're like separating it out that way, nonfiction. But I was scrolling through this person's homepage and it was like paranormal fantasy, urban fantasy, lawyer, and I was like, I don't know what just happened.
I think sweet and steamy also need to be 2 different pen names. I've seen that before, and I'm like, eek, no, because they're 2 different readers. I mean, sometimes I'll read a steamy, depending upon what kind, if it's like suspense or something. But generally, I don't pick it up because it's just not my thing. If it's skippable, I'll read it. But generally speaking, a sweet reader reads sweet, or an urban fantasy reader reads urban fantasy. There might be some crossover with like thriller or something like that. But
that makes sense. I think it's
separate. Yeah,
totally. I think so too. And it's okay. Like I know a lot of people are like, oh, but it's so much work. Well, it is work, but that's what we're doing, right? Like this is a job. So. And if it's just a hobby, then leave all of it together and leave your memoirs there and the children's books and all the things. Like you can do that. You can totally do that. Nobody's saying you can't do that.
You
But
can
when
do
you're,
whatever you want to
you
do,
can,
but
yes.
our suggestion is,
Yeah. If you're trying to make money, which we're assuming you are, since you're coming here and you're trying to learn marketing stuff, just, you need to find the commonalities. And if the readers are like for instance, cozy mystery, you would not mix with women's fiction.
yeah.
They have paranormal women's fiction, which you could mix with women's fiction. I mean, that's viable, right? But when it starts getting into a cozy mystery realm, then you're kind of like, I'm here for the paranormal, I'm here for the women's fiction, not for cozy mysteries. But again, people do it. So it's just,
and what works for one person doesn't work for everybody. But as a general rule, for your also bots and everything, you need to clean it up.
Yeah. And your branding needs to be on. I think the biggest thing for me, and I remember you saying this to me when I was like, I just don't know. You were like, you've been debating this for 6 months. If you didn't feel like you were supposed to do multiple, do 2 separate pen names, you would have dropped this when you decided to stay under 1 pen name. Like that was, and I was like, yeah, that's true. I keep coming back to this. So if you are feeling, I think that's going to be the big answer for you. The big answer for anybody is going to be your tell is, do you keep coming back and wondering if you should be doing another pen name? Then you probably should be doing another pen name. Like,
yeah,
I think that's fair. So, because again, everybody's different. I've had people who are like, yeah, I want to write children's books, but I also write erotica. And I'm like, not under the same pen name. You're not like, no, not the same pen name. I was like, okay. Oh my gosh. But like it's a thing. Like you have to actually ask yourself, what do I feel comfortable having under this pen name? Almost treat them. I love how you did this at Orb. You were like, well, right now I'm Mia Ellis. I'm my sweet pen name right now. So I can talk regarding this branding. And then you were like, oh, but if I switch over, it was more like, sorry, Mia Ellis is your urban fantasy. Ellie is your sweet. So I have a hard time keeping everybody straight. But you were like, okay, this is how I'm acting. This is what Ellie would do. And then you're like, oh, but this is what Mia would do. So I think if you separate out your pen names and then you ask yourself, you ask your pen name, what do you write? And the pen name says, I write urban fantasy. And you're like, oh, well, I have this great idea for this. And then that pen name says, no, that's not going to fit with me, but you can go somewhere else. Right. Like, I think that would be the best thing to do for people.
Yeah. I have a 3rd pen name coming because it just didn't fit into those other 2 boxes. So
careful. You're welcome to my addiction. We need to get like a support group.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Bonnie and I have 14 pen names. And you're like, hi, I'm Mandy and I've started my 3rd pen name.
Right. I know. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Welcome to the problem. It is a problem. Right. It's fine.
It is. Yeah.
It's fine. All right, guys. I hope that helps figure out. I mean, we were kind of vague on it, but it really does come down to what's going to work for you. If you have other questions, put them in the comments or come and check us out in our free Facebook group and we can maybe talk about it there.
We are going to have a part 2 explaining
next
how
week.
to separate them out. Yeah.
Yeah. So check out our second part to this, and we're going to teach you how to actually separate them out or start them separately. We might even have to do a part 3 because that would be a lot. So we'll see. We'll figure it out. You guys will know what'll happen when it happens, just like us. It's fine. Hit like and subscribe. Make sure you have the notification dinger on, and we look forward to seeing you. And hopefully you get a chance to check out Boss Mode in the next go round. Thanks, you guys.